What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. Today, I'll be doing my 2026 NASCAR Cup Series schedule predictions. So anyways, let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. Over the course of the last couple weeks, there's been starting to be a lot of inklings in regards to the 2026 schedule, and many rumors that have been circulating around the 2026 season. Today, I'm going to go through every single race and predicting where these races will be for 2026. So anyways, let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. Kicking off on February 1st, the Clash has been confirmed today that will once again be taking place at Bowman Gray Stadium. Year number one at the track was a major success. The ratings were generally very good for the first event, and we saw a popular guy in Chase Elliott picked up the win. They're expected to also sign a contract for 5 years, have a national tour event, whether that is the Clash, whether that's an Xfinity Series or Truck Series event. Bowman Gray will be on the schedule long term, and for 2026, it will be at the Bowman Gray Stadium racetrack to kick off the season. That's where the season is going to begin. There will be a 1-week break for the Super Bowl, and then on February 15th, the 2026 Daytona 500 will take place. Obviously, the Daytona 500 has been the first points-paying race for over 40 years at this point, and the Daytona 500 has been the biggest race of every single season, and it will continue hosting the first event of the year. You're going to have the qualifying take place on Wednesday, most likely. Then you're going to have the duels happen Thursday. Then you'll have the truck race on Friday. Then Saturday, you'll have the ARCA race and Xfinity race, and then you'll have the Daytona 500 kick off the regular season and be the first points-paying race of 2026. After February 22nd, I don't think anything is going to change. I think Atlanta Motor Speedway is going to continue being race 2 of the year. NASCAR is going to be looking at the ratings. They saw big ratings were for Atlanta Motor Speedway and want to continue building that momentum, and a lot of the casual fans are going to know that they're going to be going to a super speedway at Atlanta. Plus, I think Atlanta's been really good with the next-gen car, and the racing's been really good. While the weather's generally been really cold during that time in late February, Atlanta will continue being race number 2. Nothing is going to change for the season, as it will once again be on the schedule in the early portion of the year. After that, on March the 1st, we're going to continue to keeping things the same, as Circuit Americas is going to be race number 3 of 2026. There's been no official announcement, but I expect COTA to return next year. COTA's been putting out a lot of renewals as of recently, and COTA, in my opinion, put on a really good show in 2025. The racing's been really good at Circuit Americas. The next-gen car actually puts on a better show at this track than a lot of the other road courses in particular, and we saw an all-time great race. I think going to the short course was the best decision they've made for that track. They'll continue having COTA as the third points-paying race of the 2025-26 season in the upcoming year. After that, on March the 8th, we're going to have a little bit of a change, as I think Las Vegas Motor Speedway will move a week earlier on the schedule to March 8th. Las Vegas for many years was the third race of the year, but they've pushed the event back to the 5th race of the season, and I think going from COTA to Las Vegas makes a lot of sense. Las Vegas is generally really big in the TV ratings, and you want to continue having those big TV ratings markets earlier in the season. I think Las Vegas is a pretty solid track as well. The next-gen car puts on really good racing at that track from time to time, and I don't think anything will change will change a little bit with the schedule, but Vegas will continue hosting also 2 dates in 2026, as I believe they have the contract for 2029 or 2030 at the racetrack. After that, March 15th, Phoenix will move a week later in the season to the 5th race of the season. Phoenix was race number 4 of 2025. They'll just move back a little bit later in the season. I think, and it's also been confirmed as well, that Phoenix will continue hosting 2 dates for the 2026 year. They have a 2-race deal, at least for next year. Things could change for 2027. I'd love to see Phoenix go back down to 1 day, but they confirmed with them not hosting a championship race that they are going to continue hosting that early season date. They'll continue being around that time, and will be on March 15th on my predictions for 2026. After on March 22nd, we're going to have a little bit of a change, as I think Martinsville Speedway is going to move from the first or second week of April to the second last week of March. I think Martinsville is going to be a day race once again. It will not be a night race like it was in 2022, where it was blistering cold. It will continue being a day race. The weather is not too bad during that time. It's going to be a little chilly probably in the mornings, but as the time goes on, it should get better. Hopefully, maybe with the cooler temperatures, the racing can be better. But Martinsville, once again, no changes really here outside of a couple weeks earlier. It will continue hosting 2 dates, as well as they've had a contract to have 2 dates for the future. Martinsville will continue hosting an early race event. After that, on March 29th, we're going to have the first major significant change to the schedule, as I think Mexico City will return in 2026, and I think Fox is going to pick up the deal. Dale Jr. insinuated with rumors of San Diego, which we'll talk about in just a little bit. There are rumors that San Diego date might be moving during the prime section of the schedule. It sounds like they're wanting to get the street course date for next year, which means you have to do Mexico City around if you get that on the schedule next year. So I think Mexico City is going to go to the Fox part of the schedule. They were actually on the Fox network in 2005 and 2006 when the sport was at its peak, and I think they maybe know a little bit how to broadcast, even though I think they're not going to do the best job when it comes to broadcasting, because let's be real, Fox has not done a good job with broadcasting, but I think Mexico City will be back on the schedule next year. I don't think Canada's going to be calling on for Cup, though they could be for Xfinity and Trucks next year, but Mexico City will be on March 29th at that point. There will be an off week on April 5th across the board for all the industry, so Rocking will not be during the Easter weekend once again. And then on April 12th, North Wilkesboro, for the first time since 1996, will host a points paint event. During the All-Star Race weekend, especially a lot of the Fox reporters were really pushing to try to get North Wilkesboro a points paint event. And I think this also will be replacing for the spring Bristol date as well. Look, I think attendance figures have been really, really good for Bristol, especially for the spring date, but let's be real and honest, the next-gen car does not race well at Bristol. You compare that to the Cup race at North Wilkesboro for the All-Star race, I gotta say it was one of the best All-Star races I have ever seen. And I think they've earned the right to get at least a points paint event. There's not much you can really do to the car for the track. You just have to change the track up a little bit. But I think for 2026, North Wilkesboro is finally going to get the points paint date that I think they deserve, and they're going to get their first points paint date in 30 years. It'll be 30 years since they had it. I think it will happen for 2026. After on April 19th, we will head to Talladega Super Speedway. Nothing changing with the schedule there, just a little bit a week earlier because of some of the schedule changes coming up very, very soon. But Talladega is pretty much on the same weekend. It's going to be around that late April to early May portion of the year, like it's been for many, many years. And it'll probably put on hopefully some good racing, even though we've had some gridlock with the next-gen car. You'll see some good racing for the Xfinity racers, no denying that. But I think Talladega will get the chance and opportunity to host a day at that particular moment in point. After that, on April 26th, we will go to Texas Motor Speedway. This will be a week earlier than 2024 or 25. It will be late April once again, like it was in 2023. Texas will also continue only hosting one day in 2026. I think it will continue. It probably will cause a little bit of chaos. I'm not the biggest fan of this track, but Texas does bring a lot of ratings in. It's a big market as well, one of the highest purses every single year. April 26th will be the Texas race next year. After that, on May the 3rd, we'll be headed to Kansas Speedway. Kansas will move a week earlier from the prior season. Kansas will continue being on the track for at least 2 races. They have a contract through 2026 where they are required to have at least 2 races on the schedule that year. Plus, Kansas is one of the best tracks for the next-gen car. The next-gen race is fantastic at this track, and the racing is solid and really, really good. So nothing is going to change on this front. In this aspect, it will continue staying on, and you will see Kansas continue hosting 2 dates next year, and will be on May 3rd in the 2026 calendar year. After that, on May the 10th, we're going to have another significant change, as I think Richmond Raceway will move from the middle of August to late July to the middle of May. For many years, Richmond used to host 2 dates, and they had their spring Richmond race in the May to June area, pretty much in the 2000s to the 2010s. I also think going back to Darlington, they're going to lose one of their dates next season for a track coming up very, very soon. And I think that Richmond will kind of be around that replacement date for that point, as I think the throwback race is going to go to North Wilkesboro. But Richmond will move earlier in the year. I think Fox will maybe cover that race at that point, but they are going to get that date and move it a little bit earlier in the schedule like they used to for many years. It will be on May 10th in my predictions for 2026. After that, on May 17th, this is going to be the All-Star Race weekend. I've already mentioned that North Wilkesboro will not host the All-Star Race in 2026. My prediction is that Rockingham Speedway will get the All-Star Race in 2026, and the Xfinity Series and Truck Series are going to be coming along during this weekend as well. Rockingham, in my opinion, it does not, I don't know if it's ready for a full Cup race, like a points paying race just yet, but I think Rockingham would make a lot of sense for an All-Star event. The racing was really, really good for the Xfinity Series and the Truck Series. I'm not sure how the next-gen car would race there, though. But I think if you want an All-Star race, it kind of could be in that North Carolina area. Rockingham makes a lot of sense. It was a very big success the first time around. I think for 2026, it's going to be on the schedule. I think it's going to be back on the Cup schedule in some way, shape, or form for the first time since 2004. And I think you'll see that track back once again on the Cup schedule for 2026. After on May 24th will be the 2026 Coca-Cola 600. Now, obviously, we'll not have the Monaco Grand Prix during this time, so the Indy 500, and you will have the Coke 600, basically part of that traditional Memorial Day weekend run. But the Coke 600 won the biggest race of the year. This also will be the first prime race of 2026 as well. Coke 600 had some really big ratings, especially for the prime section of things, and I do think those ratings are going to go up as more people know about the NASCAR Amazon Prime coverage. Nothing will change also on the coverage, I expect, by the way, but Coke 600 will be on May 24th in 2026. After that, on May 31st, there will be another change to the schedule, as I think Pocono is going to move from the end of June to late May. This is going to be the earliest I think we've ever had a Pocono race in NASCAR Cup history before, but I think this is about the best you can do for Pocono. I think Pocono also will not be too bad for the weather, especially. It's not going to be too hot. The weather generally is not that hot from what I remember in late May at that point, and I generally think the racing is going to be good. Now, weather could be a factor, like it can be a Pocono from time to time, but you do have the mountains out there that will probably help a little bit with the dissipating of the weather. So I think for 2026, Pocono moves a little bit earlier in the year. After that, on June 7th, we have a one-week pushback as National Superspeedway will take place on June the 7th. With the upcoming date we're going to talk about in just a second, I think National moving back a week later makes a lot of sense. National is going to be good for the travel side of things, and I think the racing, while it's a little hit or miss this year, National does have a place on the schedule. It's unknown if the National Fairgrounds are ever going to end up on the schedule for 2026 or down the road in the future. There's been a lot of stalling about that at that point, but National, in my opinion, nothing will change too much outside of getting pushed back a week. I think will be on June 7th for the 2026 NASCAR Cup Series year and Cup Series season. After that, on June 14th, we're going to have a new street course track on the schedule, as this will kind of be the replacement for the Chicago street course in 2026, as San Diego will host a NASCAR Cup Series event on June 14th on the schedule around Father's Day. There's been a lot of talk. They're close to finalizing a contract to race in the streets of San Diego. They still have not exactly figured out where they're going to go. I've heard rumors maybe Coronado area is where they might be looking to race at. But San Diego has been really pushing to get a street course date. They've been the favorite really since last year, and I think they will host a street course date next year. I didn't think it would happen until a couple weeks ago when Bianchi reported. I think it will be gone, and I will be the new street course race, and we will place it on the street course side for the Chicago street course in 2026. After that, on June 21st, we will race at Michigan. Michigan is going to move 2 weeks back from the 2025 schedule, especially with the travel. It makes a lot more sense to go back from San Diego and go back up to Michigan. Michigan put on an ultimately great race in 2025, one of the best Michigan races I have ever seen as a fan, and I think the next-gen car races really well at that track, and Michigan does also bring a massive amount of attendance, and the camping is generally very, very good at Michigan as well. So we'll continue being around that late June race. It will move a little bit farther back. Rain could be a factor during that time as well, like it's been for many years, but it will be on June 21st in the 2026 NASCAR Cup Series season. After that, on June 28th, we will open up the TNT portion of the schedule and we'll race at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Now, unlike this year's race, which was on a Saturday night, I think it is going to actually be a Sunday evening race or Sunday afternoon race or Sunday evening race because of the TV ratings. The TV ratings were really, really bad this year. They only had a 1.66 to 1.67, one of the lowest watched races in the last 25 years of this sport. Worse than even the Bristol night race of 2022. And in 2023. I think it's going to be a night race on Sunday. It makes a lot more sense to have Sunday night races when it comes to the TV ratings. It'll be the opening there. Hopefully the coverage will be better for that event, but it will once again be on the first race of the TNT portion of the schedule in 2026. After that, on July 5th, we have another major significant change. As I mentioned, I do not think the Chicago Street Course is going to be coming back for 2026, but NASCAR wants to stay in the Chicagoland market. So I think in 2026, for the first time since 2019, the NASCAR Cup Series is going to be racing at Chicagoland Speedway. There's been a major homegrown push to get Chicagoland back on the schedule for the last couple of years. We all know the next-gen car races really well at intermediate tracks, and while there's some things that need to be done to the racetrack to get it up the par in speed, I think the track is almost ready to go with just a few touches at this point. They kept the track updated. They've been working on the track to try to get it in the best position, in the best case that it can. I think it's going to be back on the schedule next year. I think it deserves to be on there. I would love for Chicago Street Course to be on there in some way, but I think for 2026, it will be gone, and Chicagoland will be finally, for the first time in many years, back on the schedule. schedule. After on July 12th, once again continue racing at Sonoma Raceway. Sonoma will continue being one of the races part of TNT's rotation as well. Sonoma, one of the races that TNT covered for many, many years, and we'll probably put on an okay show, but this track doesn't always put on the best racing when it comes to road course racing over the years. But Sonoma is a track that does bring a lot of attendance and fans as well. It will be back on the schedule. No shock and surprise there. I think if they've got a long-term contract with NASCAR, they've been going there for nearly 40 years at this point. They will continue being on the NASCAR Cup Series schedule for the 2026 season. After on July 19th, we will continue racing at Dover Motor Speedway. I have thought maybe there'd be a possibility that Dover could be a little bit earlier in the year, but I think that TNT is still going to want to continue covering Dover. I think back in the original contract from 2001 to 2006, TNT did cover races at Dover Motor Speedway, so they will continue being over there on the July 19th area. It's probably going to be hot and really, really warm during that time, but they want to be on that East Coast portion of the schedule at that point. I think for July 19th, we will race at Dover Motor Speedway and move that to around the same weekend as we were in 2025. After on July 26th will be the 2026 Brickyard 400. I know there was a lot of talk maybe about doing a rotation of going back to the Indy Road Course maybe every couple of years, but I think with the success of the first year, and I think the second year will be very successful for TNT as well, I think the Brickyard 400 is going to continue being on the traditional oval. It's one of the big crown jewel events every single year, and it's a massive event for the TV side of things as well, an event that most drivers want to win. Kyle Larson, of course, won the race in 2024. So once again, for 2026, nothing will change. It will continue being during that portion of the year in 2026. There will be a 1-week break for an extra off week in 2026, and then the first race of NBC's coverage will take place at Iowa Speedway on August 10th. This is around the same weekend as it is in 2025, basically around where the Knoxville Nationals are going to take place as well. I think that's going to be around the same weekend. They're going to try to correspond with Knoxville probably to figure out when that race is going to be, but it will kick off NBC's portion of the year. Iowa put on a pretty good show last year as well, especially for short track standards of the next-gen car. It will be on August 10th in 2026. After August 17th, we're going to have another change of the schedule as I think New Hampshire Motor Speedway is going to move out of the playoffs, and I think it is going to move to the August 17th portion of the schedule. I never really understood why New Hampshire was in the playoffs to begin with. I don't think the track deserves to be in the playoffs on a personal front. I get that a lot of people are probably going to go, but I think you have it earlier in the year. One, you're not going to be running the issues with darkness, perhaps, because if you have a little bit later in the year, you might run into issues with darkness unless you start the race a little bit earlier. So I think for 2026, I think you're going to have one less flat track that is going to be in the playoffs, and I think it moves to a little bit earlier in the schedule, kind of replacing that Richmond date at that point on August 17th. After August 23rd, there'll be another change as I think Watkins Glen is going to move to the second to last race of the regular season. Watkins Glen puts on generally really good racing for all the series, and Watkins Glen, I was thinking maybe putting in the playoffs right now, but I don't think it's going to go in the playoffs next season. I think it is a better fit for the late August, the middle portion of August every single year. So for 2026, nothing will change on that front except to move back a couple weeks, and it will continue being hosting a late August date in the 2026 Cup season. And finally, for the regular season on August 29th, it will take place at the cutoff race at Daytona International Speedway. It's been the cutoff race since 2020. It's been a big success. I think it's one of the better races, at least when it comes to super speedways with the next gen, though the next gen super speedway racing isn't great. But I think we'll see less gridlock with a lot of drivers going for and trying to make the best opportunity to get up front. It will once again be the cutoff race in 2026. So now let's get to the playoffs. The playoffs are going to kick off on September 6th for the 2026 Southern 500. Southern 500 has been the kickoff of the playoffs. Only once has not been the kickoff, and that was Atlanta last year. It will be the kickoff once again for 2025. In 2026, it will continue being the same. The Southern 500 is one of the biggest crown jewel events every year, and most jobbers want to go and win it. So for 2026, it will continue staying the same and be the first playoff race for the 2026 NASCAR Cup season. After on September 13th, we're going to have a little bit of a change as I think Kansas Speedway moves away from the round of 12 and goes to the round of 16 as a second race. Kansas Speedway puts on great racing. I think it would make a lot more sense for the round of 8, but I don't just see it fitting in my current schedule that I'm doing predictions on right now. Kansas deserves to be in the playoffs. I know there will probably be talk about whether the track will have 2 dates in the future, but as of right now on September 13th, it will be the second race. It used to be a round of 16 race not too long ago. Then they move it to the round of 12. I think it moves back out of the round of 12 and will move to the round of 16 in 2026 or whatever the playoff format's going to be, because I don't exactly know what the format is going to be, but Kansas will be the second race of that round. And the final race of the round of 16 at the moment will be on September 19th at Bristol Motor Speedway, the Bristol Cutoff Race. Again, like I mentioned, only one Bristol race in 2026. I don't think the racing is going to be that spectacular, if I'm going to be honest, but Bristol, it brings a lot of people out there, and for the night race, the crowd is generally really, really good. So it's one of the more marquee events every single year, even if the racing isn't as fantastic at the moment. But it will be the night race once again as a cutoff race for the round of 16. Now let's go to the round of 12. The first race of the round of 12 will take place on September 27th at Gateway International Raceway. This means Gateway will move 2 weeks later into the playoffs on September 27th weekend. Gateway will be back in the playoffs, in my opinion. Generally, the crowd for the St. Louis area is really, really good, and the weather during that time is actually going to be a little bit better. It can sometimes around this area still be in the 80s and even 90s at times in late September, so it can be very, very warm, but it should be a little better with it moving back a little farther into the schedule. I think it's going to be in that round of 12 area. It could help the Penske cars have a chance to advance to the round of 8 if we're still doing the same playoff system, but right now I think we'll be on September 27th, and I think the Xfinity Series will be back as well, and maybe the Truck Series, so we might have a triple header weekend during that time in 2026. After on October the 4th, we will be racing at Phoenix Raceway. Phoenix Raceway will continue hosting 2 dates, and they say it'd be a little bit later in the playoffs, but I don't think Phoenix deserves to be a round of 8 track. I think it makes more sense to be in the round of 12. Now, I don't know when the Arizona Cardinals are going to be playing during that time, but Phoenix, again, I think makes more sense to be there. I think it could be round of 8, but I think for now, at this moment, I don't think it should be in the round of 8. I think it's more fit for the round of 12. That will take place on October 4th for the 2026 NASCAR Cup season, as for the first time in a while, it won't be the championship event. Instead, it will be on October 4th in 2026. And the final race of the round of 12 will take place on October 11th, and not at the Charlotte Roval, at the Charlotte Oval. I don't think there's going to be a road course race in the playoffs next year, and I think the Charlotte Oval is going to come back. There is a massive push to get Charlotte Motor Speedway to have the Oval race once again and get rid of the Roval, and it makes a lot of sense why. The Oval puts on great racing. The Coke 600 was a banger this year. The Next-Gen car race is very, very good at these types of tracks. So it makes more sense to have the Charlotte Oval be there for the first time since 2017. I think you're going to have 2 Oval races at Charlotte, which is going to be exciting. And I think the Roval is going to go away. The racing has not been that good at the Roval. They tried to experiment. It worked for a couple years, but I think it will go away in 2026. Now let's go to the round of 8. The round of 8 is going to kick off on October 18th. At Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Las Vegas has been the opener for the round of 8 for the last couple years, since going back to 2021, I believe, and it will continue being that for 2026. It'll be about a month away from the weekend of the Las Vegas Grand Prix, which will be back next season as they sign a multi-year contract in Formula 1. It'll probably put on some great racing. It could be a fuel mileage finish as well. Might help Joey Logano have a chance to win the championship at that point, but Vegas will be the first race of the round of 8. After October 25th, we'll be racing at Talladega Super Speedway. Talladega probably should move earlier in the year, but you got to look at the TV side of things. TV is going to want Talladega to be a little bit later because they can have the final 3 races of the season be part of that rotation. If we have a rotation, Dega could be the opening of that rotation with a 3-race round. It could be wild for that to be in that part of things, but Talladega will be back on October 25th. I don't think it's going to get moved earlier in the season. I think it will stay around its schedule because of the rating side of things. Then, the penultimate race on November 1st will be at Martinsville Speedway. Martinsville has been the cutoff race since 2020, and generally it's been one of the better races every single year, even with the next-gen cars. I thought it was one of the best short-track races we've seen with the next-gen car. Unfortunately, it was kind of overshadowed by a lot of the manipulation that happened in that race last season. But nonetheless, Martinsville will be on November 1st in 2026, and will be that penultimate race. It's not a very popular one in the rating side of things, but it will be the second to last race of 2026. Which means finally on November 8th, we will be racing at Homestead Miami Speedway for the championship. This was confirmed about 2 or 3 months ago, and Homestead being back as a championship as part of a championship rotation. Tracks like Las Vegas could be part of this rotation. Charlotte's been talked about as a possibility. Kansas is a track that certainly could be in the running for this, and you have to look at Phoenix while down the road being it. But Homestead, for the first time since 2019, will be hosting the championship race. It's going to put on a fantastic product. The next-gen car race is exceptional at this track. The Xfinity car puts on a great show here, and the Truck Series also puts on generally a fantastic show at this track as well. So I think for 2026, Homestead Miami Speedway is going to get the championship, which we already know at this point. It will be on there. It will be the championship race in the 2026 NASCAR Cup Series season. So that is the schedule predictions. What are the big notable changes to my schedule? Like I mentioned, I think Darlington is going to lose their spring day. There's been a lot of talk about the throwback weekend, and a lot of people were kind of wanting to get away from the throwback weekend. I think the throwback weekend is going to go to North Wilkesboro next year. North Wilkesboro is going to get a points paying day and replace the spring Bristol day. Bristol, I just don't think we'll have 2 dates next year. San Diego is going to be on the schedule. I think Chicagoland is going to be on the schedule next year. And I think if Mexico does not return, I think there's a chance Montreal might end up on there. But as of right now, those are the major changes I do have for the 2026 year, along with the fact there's going to be less road courses on the schedule for next season. So, those are my 2026 NASCAR Cup Series schedule predictions. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Let's go below that and comment your predictions below for the 2026 NASCAR Cup Series season. Let me know them in the comments below. I should have a paint scheme video dropping later today on the channel. Tomorrow, we're going to have 2 NASCAR news videos dropping on the channel discussing all the news from the beginning of the week till the end of the week. And we are also going to have the reactions to Xfinity qualifying from Sonoma. Then on Saturday, we're going to have reactions to Cup qualifying, and we're also going to have reactions to Xfinity race. And then on Sunday, we'll have reactions to the Cup Series race, along with starting lineup video, maybe a Shane Van Gisbergen video as well. The Monday, we should have a NASCAR news video dropping on the channel. We're going to have content coming out, people like Haley Deegan, Shane Van Gisbergen, Cards, Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, Bubba Wallace, Ross Chastain, Cletus Safar, Dodge Ram, Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, Sam Ayers, Sheldon Creed, you name it. The lawsuit between 25 and Front Row, we'll be talking more about that, potentially them losing their charters, and Tyler Reddick getting affected by that, along Michael Jordan as well. We've got a lot of fun and great content dropping really soon for you guys that I cannot wait for you guys to check out. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.